Alright. Hey everybody. Mind Circus here. So basically, what I'm doing here is just the first in a series of short video tips, so to speak. So let's start before anything else. What I'm going to do is just talk about the software that I'm using currently. As you can probably see, I am on Paint Shop Pro X4. I use it because it's 60 bucks, basically. Photoshop is great. It's overkill for making chat avatars. There's no real reason to be using a $600 piece of software to do it. I understand, though, that there's a free, older version of Photoshop running around somewhere, so good stuff. If that's what you're using, GIMP would also work for what I do here. And in fact, with my avatars in general, I don't use any kind of elements of my image editing programs that really haven't been standard in just about any decent photo software for the last 10 years. Really, I'm going to use layers and brightness and contrast and some blurring and stuff. But I guess I'll get to the first tip, and it is to work big. And we're going to talk about why I do that and give you a couple of demos here. What I've done before anything else is I've got two versions here on my desktop of the same image, tutorial big, tutorial small. And just to give you guys an idea, hello KK people, there's tutorial small. Now, tutorial small is typically the size that most avatar makers are going to work with. We'll look at that here as I do a quick demo. See what happens is most avatar makers, what they're going to do is they're going to grab her here, and then they are going to create a new image, and probably it's going to be like 600 by 400. And then they'll paste her in there, and then they'll maybe put in a background and do some effects to it, and you know, put on a name. And that is kind of the basics. But when I am doing it, what I am going to do is start a new image, and I'm going to start it at 2000 by 2000. And we'll take a look at the size difference here. Here's the version that I'm going to use, and there it is in full size, so you can see very easily the difference between these two images. So let's go over to big, drop it in here, and we'll grab her and paste it into my new one. The next thing I'm going to do is I'm actually just going to color my background black really quickly. Why? Because chat room backgrounds are black. Okay, so here's the real step. If we look at the small version, we can go in here, and the reason why I work big will become really apparent really quickly. We're going to grab our our basic starter avatar here and do what we spend most of our time as avatar makers doing, and that's slowly erasing the background from the model. And that is a pretty good demo there of one of the edges. Not a bad job. Now, if we actually do things my way, though, and we come in here, the first thing you'll notice is this picture is so fine that we can actually see the little stray hairs coming out of her hairdo here. So if we look at those over on the little version, those are kind of just represented by a blur. The main reason I am going to work at this kind of resolution is really the level of control that it gives me here. And if we see, I can come down here on this. Does it take longer? Absolutely it takes longer. You know what? Totally fucking worth it. So we'll just take a bit of her hair out there and maybe just come down the front a little bit to get a decent demo. and then we'll talk about the second reason why I work so big. So, will I take longer on an avatar? Absolutely. My average avatar takes me about 2 hours. Okay. So, the thing about working at this size is it covers up your mistakes better. I mean, when we look at this at the resolution, or get a good idea of what it's going to look like on a fucking chat room background, we basically can see this is a very nice and sharp line here. But if we zoom in on it, it's every bit as jagged as this one. Now, in terms of that one, that took me like a minute and a half. If we take the black to that, we'll see the haloing on it. See? All sorts of haloing there. Right? Now I can go back over against that, but it's just easier to work at this kind of fine level of detail. So, control and it hides your mistakes are the two big ones. A couple of things to note about working at this resolution. The number one thing to note is that when you've got it all the way you want it at this resolution, you want to flatten it first and then resize it, and I'll show you that really quickly. When we resize things, when we're working at this resolution, just crop to a selection here, and we will resize to about the same size as the other one. The difference is very apparent here when I bring it down and look at the other one. Okay, we got the haloing. We have absolutely no haloing there. But always, once you brought it down like that, make it pop with just a quick sharpen filter. There you go. See, it's just a quick immediate difference. You pop it with a sharpen filter after you've brought it down to the size when you're ready to render, and just make a pang or a JPEG out of it. So there you have it. Work big. It may require a pretty powerful computer. If you need a new computer, I will always tell you to buy a gaming computer if you're at all interested in hobbyist graphics. And really, that's it.